Lower back pain. It's something almost every one of us will experience once in their life, and for some this can occur multiple times, even on a weekly basis. This pain is generally, well, a real pain in the ass because it hinders you from performing daily tasks and often heavily distracts you from other activities like reading, watching TV, and smashing that like button for the YouTube algorithm. And the worst thing about it is that it can sometimes randomly occur when you're not even doing something that can provoke it. Now, there are many reasons as to why you might be experiencing this lower back pain, but the general consensus is that in most cases we can fix that lower back pain by just strengthening that lower back. Now, there might be some other causes over which I will go at the end of the video to make sure you're keeping your spine healthy. Now, there are even some case studies and reviews that link the cause of this pain to weak muscles surrounding this area and to poor neuromuscular control. But these also mention that if you're able to get rid of those problems, you will be finally able to get rid of that lower back pain. Now, most of you have already heard that you should strengthen your lower back or at least your abdominal muscles, but you might not have seen that much result. And that's because we need to pick the right exercises and perform them correctly to actually make this work. For example, one of the most performed exercises to fix this issue is the sit-up, but this exercise should mostly be avoided. Now, people recommend that you do this exercise to strengthen your ab muscles so that they can support your spine. But the problem is that with this exercise you're putting even more pressure on that spine. And that's because with a sit-up we create a long lever for the lower back. This long lever puts a lot of force onto your spine, and this is something we should avoid. Now, picking the right exercises can be difficult, so that's why I will go over the 3 exercises that you should be doing to strengthen your lower back. Now, it's also important that you perform them correctly, so that's why I will go over the most common mistakes that people make when they're performing these exercises. Now, at the end of the video I will give you 2 other reasons as to why you might be experiencing this lower back pain and how to fix it, because sometimes you still suffer from that pain even after strengthening your lower back. Now, before we start here, I want to quickly remind you to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any tips. And without further ado, let's get started. Now, we will start off with 2 exercises that should be at the base of your training. Now, these 2 are compound movements, but they're often performed incorrectly in a way that might even hurt your lower back. And these 2 exercises are the squat and the deadlift. But if you can, you also want to include some other compound movements like the barbell row, which will also help you get a stronger lower back. Now, a lot of people who suffer from lower back pain tend to stay away from these exercises. And that's because these exercises can sometimes provoke lower back pain instead of fixing it. And if this sounds like you, you're going to want to listen, because you're probably doing the exercises wrong. Because you see, there are some common form mistakes which often provoke lower back pain, and you really want to avoid them. Now, first off, why these movements? They help you to keep your spine in a neutral position. But there is also proof from EMG studies that the lower back is very active when performing these 2 exercises. So that means that these 2 exercises will help you strengthen your lower back a lot. They also allow us to progressively add more weight to the lifts and thus progressively overload your lower back to make it stronger. And that's something that is hard to do when you're just doing bodyweight exercises, which most people recommend. Now, it's important to note here that these exercises might make your lower back feel sore if it's your first time doing them or if you don't do them regularly. Now, your body will get used to it after a couple of weeks and the muscle soreness should go away. Now, let's start off with the common mistakes with these exercises that often cause lower back pain. The first mistake is, of course, bending your lower back, something that can even lead to dislocation of discs in your spine. But in the squat you often still see a lot of people doing this wrong. And that's because it's often said that you should squat ass to grass, but that's not really healthy for most people because they simply lack the mobility, and this causes their lower back to round up when they're performing this exercise. And this is something that you want to avoid at all time and might even be the cause of your lower back pain. We can simply fix this by squatting down less deep or fixing the mobility, which is often caused by tight hamstrings. So stretch these if that's the case. Now, some people tend to also lean towards a specific side, which also puts your spine in an unhealthy, dangerous position. This is mostly because one side is more dominant or tighter than the other. And to fix this, we simply have to learn to squat the right way with some lighter weights. Actively think about dropping down backwards and even think about shifting to the other side if that helps you to get in the right position. Now, when this becomes more natural, start start to add some more weight and do the same. And this should fix our problem. Now, as to how to perform the deadlift, it's very important that you make sure you're keeping your lower back straight. Even film yourself if you have to make sure you're doing this right. Now, a reason as to why it might be so difficult for you to keep a neutral spine is probably because you're trying to get the weight up with your lower back and not your legs. It's important that you first push through your legs until the bar reaches your knees, and next push through with your hips. This might take a while to master, but it's definitely more beneficial in the long run. Now, something to also note here is that you really need to try to push yourself with these exercises, because according to a study, the heavier you go, the more your lower back becomes activated. And now the third exercise is going to be the back extensions. One of the best exercises which is often executed so poorly. This exercise really allows you to isolate that lower back because there are literally almost no other muscles involved. But a lot of people perform this in a way that it even puts more strain on your lower back and might actually increase the pain that you're feeling. Now, to perform this one correctly, you need to position yourself so that your hip bones are in front of the pad. This exercise can also be done on a Roman chair, but I'm using this machine as an example. Now, you should lower yourself down as far as you can while maintaining a neutral spine. Then move your upper body up again until your body forms a straight line. Now, it's important that you don't bend your spine like you see some people doing, and that you don't hyperextend your spine at the top, because this will also put some stress on your lower back. And if you perform this exercise correctly, you will definitely feel that lower back pain go away. I recommend that you do this for about 8 to 15 reps, and to progressively overload this, you can simply take a weighted plate or two and hold it like this to make it more difficult. Now, maybe you've already done quite a few of these exercises, but you're still experiencing lower back pain. And this could be because of a couple of reasons. But first of all, if the pain is really constant and intense, I definitely advise you to seek medical attention, because we only have one spine and we need to do our whole lives with it. So make sure that your spine is healthy. Now, if you sometimes experience this pain, the first reason could be your sleeping position, because a lot of us don't really just sleep flat on our backs during the night. Most of the time we move around a little and move to our sides. Now, in most cases, all we need is just a second pillow, but if you experience lower back pain when you're just laying flat, you might want to look out for a new mattress. Now, if you lay on your side, it could be helpful to put a pillow between your legs, because this helps your spine to align properly with your hips and your pelvis and will help relieve stress on your lower back. Now, sleeping in just a fetal position will also help, because this also helps alleviate the tension. And if you for some reason like to sleep on your stomach, it's best to put a pillow under your pelvis and your lower abdomen. And now that we have the first problem fixed, let's move on to the next one, which is incorrect posture. Now, because we're so used to sitting all the time, we often come upon an incorrect posture, and the main cause of lower back pain is anterior pelvic tilt. Now, I have already got a video out there which tells you how to fix it, so I will leave a link to it down below, but you basically want to strengthen your glutes and stretch your hip flexors. But if you suffer from this, click that other video for further explanation. Now, smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.